Welcome again, Maxim here, and in this video I will be talking about Duviri, what you will find in this place, what game modes are there, and how to farm resources. I recommend playing the Duviri Paradox story quest first before watching this video, to avoid any possible spoilers. If you've already played it, or you don't mind spoilers, enjoy the tutorial. There are two ways to start a mission on Duviri. First, through a special room in Dormy Zone. By visiting it, you will find a trader with Duviri related items. We'll get to her later. There's also a door ajar. After interacting with it, you will see the Duviri mission screen. You can also open it from the Orbiter's navigation by clicking on the tile in the upper right corner of the screen. You will notice that it looks differently depending on the current mood on Duviri. I will describe it in a moment. Now let's take a look at the Duviri mission screen. You have three modes to choose from. Looking from the right, the Lone Story, Duviri Experience, and the Circuit. The first is the most basic approach to the gameplay on Duviri. There, you will play 6 tasks, ended with a boss fight or a worm. However, you will not experience any additional activities, of which there are plenty. This mode is useful if you have no idea how to play there and want to gain some experience. The default way to play Duviri is the second mode, Experience. Here you also have 6 stages and the boss fight. But, in the meantime, you can encounter side activities. There's a really huge number of them, and each completed task, regardless of whether it is a main or side one, gives you a resource, 1 decree, and intrinsic points. I will get to them and side activities in a moment. The third game mode is Circuit. This is a special mission that you can play endlessly. Depending on whether you are in normal mode or on the steel path, you will receive different rewards, and these reset every week. I will describe this mode later in the video. Regardless of which mode you choose, you start in a cave. It is a kind of main hub connected to the open world. But it does not work like in the case of Cetus or Fortuna. When you come here, you can choose your equipment, but also modify a few other things. Let's take a walk. Starting from the left, you can change some visual aspects of your mount, cave, colors, general appearance, or some add-ons. Next, you have place where every 20 hours some random plants will grow. You can collect them by simply getting close to them. They also grow normally on Duviri. The next point is the mirror. This is where you change the drifter's appearance. In the next place, you can buy and after purchasing, exchange the weapons that you will use as a drifter on Duviri. You make the purchase with Pathos Clamps. This is a resource from the local boss. Once you buy a weapon, it becomes yours forever, and you also get its blueprint for the foundry, so you can create a version for Warframes. Here you can also practice fighting on the dummy, but try not to hurt him too much. Further into the cave, you will find a point where you can manage the Drifter Intrinsics. These are special skills, both active and passive bonuses, in 4 different categories. Each skill level gives you 1500 mastery points. 1 completed tree gives you 15,000 points to your profile, so all 4, 60,000 points. What exactly are you developing here? Lots of bonuses that increase your survivability and damage. There are also perks that give you the opportunity, for example, to summon your Warframe on Duviri for a moment, or additional skills for your horse, or to shorten skill cooldowns. The ability to fast travel, summon cave outside Duviri, or more weapons and Warframes to choose from in the Teshin's cave. Speaking of equipment, if you want to play Duviri, you don't prepare yourself on the Orbiter, but in the cave. When you appear here, you will see several available characters in which you can choose configurations you had previously prepared, or those prepared for you from among the mods you have by a special algorithm. There's no access to the modding screen in the cave. Select your Warframe, then you will be able to select weapons. And same as before, your configurations and one prepared by the game. But Warframes and weapons that you have never obtained might also appear here. This is an interesting feature that gives you the opportunity to play with equipment you haven't tried before. By developing the Drifter's Opportunity skill, rank 3, you will have more Warframes and weapons to choose from. Additionally, Opportunity rank 4 gives you the option to check what characters and weapons are currently in the cave. The currently drawn set changes when you complete the full mission on Duviri, the current mood changes, or you complete at least 1 round of the circuit. Okay, now the decrees. These are special gameplay modifiers. For each completed main or side activity, you receive 1 decree. If you have opportunity rank 3, you will also get 1 at the start, as soon as you appear in the Teshin's cave. They can increase your damage, survivability, or influence your opponents. If you want to play the mission on Duviri in the normal mode, you can experiment with them. Get to know the decrees and check how they work. However, when you play on the steel path here, it is worth knowing which decrees are the most profitable. Melee weapons are highly rewarded here. If you want to build a powerful set as quickly as possible, look for decrees that increase critical chance, damage, and attack speed. You will also find a decree that doubles damage from crits, statuses, and melee weapons. Moreover, additional damage from fire, toxin, or cold is very effective. Decree that slows down nearby opponents is also helpful. And there is one that increases the damage against enemies slowed by cold. However, if you want some decrees for fire weapons, look for one that increases your fire rate with each shot, or the enemy's susceptibility to damage after each hit, or increase damage after a headshot. Some decrees are great at improving survivability, life regeneration upon each kill or inflicted status, energy regeneration or increased efficiency. There is also one that gives you overguard for melee kills. Opportunity rank 6 gives an option to discard your current decrees and show a new random set. And there are many more interesting decrees. Play, check them, and choose what suits your gameplay style best. Let's move on to the Duviri gameplay. The mood in this place changes every 2 hours. It can be joy, sorrow, fear, envy, and anger. Moods are also called spirals. Each one defines the damage used by opponents and partially what the map looks like. Some locations don't appear in specific moods. You will not find the amphitheater during sorrow, and the archabor during anger and fear. However, Kullervo's hold is only available during fear, anger, and sorrow. While playing Duviri, you will have 6 tasks to complete. 2 of them are in the Undercroft. Each entering in starts 1 out of 7 different missions. More about this soon. The rest of the missions on Duviri are really diverse. Defeating a group of enemies, sometimes they guard a treasure chest. This may also be guarded by a frags, or it will need to be hacked. Some tasks are more arcade-like, shooting at points to connect power lines or gathering goats. The more players, the more you need to find. You can also shoot the points in the caves or look for lost treasures here. There will also be a horse races through points or a fight with a dachs on a horse. Here you have to shoot or parry strikes at the right moment and try to throw your opponent off his horse by approaching him. Sometimes there's also a fight while rebuilding the shrine. One of the killed enemies during each wave will drop a fragment of it. During the Defending the Prisoner mission, it is best to eliminate enemies from a distance. Sometimes you need to activate a special mirror. There, after a few waves of enemies, you must enter a special point with your alter ego, which moves mirror-like to you, and then touch the treasure chest. Listen to the whistle, it will guide you. In addition, there are many side activities: playing Komi, feeding a ravenous fish, or playing the Shozin. If you play all the songs on Duviri at least once, each point is a different song, you will receive Shozin from Duviri. In addition, the previously mentioned tasks, which may be one of the main goals, can also be side activities. Regardless of their nature, once completed, they give you random Duviri resource, decree, and intrinsic point. The latter are used to develop previously mentioned drifter skills in the cave, or you can also do it in the Dormy Zone. While playing on the steel path, collect 10 or more decrees in the first stage of the spiral. Then the game will be much more enjoyable because the level of the opponents increases with each stage. There are also so-called Enigma Puzzles. These are special puzzles, each of them are unique. Some can be solved solo, while others require cooperation. You must set the appropriate combination of symbols using nearby discs. Sometimes you have to look for containers with discs and then throw them into the right places. Some of them, after setting the correct symbol, must be taken out again by shooting at special point and then be placed in another spot to set the next symbol. For solving the puzzles, you will receive local resources, including Enigma Gyrum. These tokens are used to trade with Akritis. In addition to a bunch of random resources, you will also have a chance to get a part or main blueprint of a bow, Cinta. Speaking of resources, there are 3 associated with the fish feeding: Nacrio's Pebble, Bow Fang, and Ariate Scale. Additionally, you can find Agristone all over Duviri. It is a form of a rock. Tasoma extract is also everywhere. Just keep that in mind, it grows only in caves. Lementus drop from defeated Dax units. A rune marrow can be found in the Undercroft. As for their remaining resources, they have a precisely defined place of occurrence: Dragroot and Zagenperl in the southern part of Duviri, Kovnek in the north. In the western part of the map, you will find Silvsela. Yaoshraub can be found in the snowy areas southeastern island. There, in the south, and on the island of Kullervo, you will find Uimag. Konla Sprout is located in the northern part of Duviri, near circular pools with waterfalls. Ivani, however, grows on the islands, smaller numbers on the amphitheater, and larger numbers on the Archabor. If you want to farm Duviri resources as quickly as possible, remember that your inventory is saved after each acquired decree. So basically, you can start Duviri Experience, pick up what you need, collect 1 decree, and return to the Orbiter. Everything you found will be saved. In addition, there are 2 more resources from bosses. More about them in a moment. Plus, on Duviri, you will find plenty of collectibles. If you are close to one of those you haven't collected yet, you will hear a unique sound. You can check the entire collection in the Codex or on the pedestal next to the Acrites in the room in Dormizone. Sometimes, during the game, you may come across active additional portals. They will take you to one random mission in the Undercroft and reward you with an arcane. To proceed, you'll need at least 7 decrees. During each spiral, you can find 3 such portals. When playing on regular mode, you will receive a random arcane that can be acquired in other places. However, on the Steel Path, you will receive Steel Essence and 1 arcane, which is only available on Duviri. Also, you get 1 Pathos Lamp for completing each portal on normal mode, and 3 for each Steel Path one. Besides of these portals, these arcanes are only available from Acrites, 1 per day if you have opportunity rank 9, or from the circuit as a reward on the Steel Path variant. These portals count as side activities. They should be marked with a special icon after defeating Orowyrm, but if they are not, look for them in these places. Let's finally get to the bosses. The lesser one is Kullervo. His hold is accessible during a spiral of anger, fear and sorrow. You start the fight by talking to the Warden. It is suggested to have at least 5 decrees here. The fight isn't particularly difficult, especially if you have a few decrees or teammates. Remember that one of the Drifter's skills allows you to summon your Warframe, which makes it even easier. After defeating him, you will receive Kullervo's Bane, with which you can purchase his components from Acrites. In normal mode, you will get from 4 to 6 of them, on the Steel Path from 6 to 8. Resource Booster does not increase these values. If you did this fight before the main battle with Orowyrm, you will receive Banes after the main boss fight. Sometimes the fight with Kullervo is one of the tasks in the spiral, so don't rush it. You can always do it later. It may also happen that the Warden is not present in his seat. Fly away to another part of the map for a while, and when you come back, he should be there. Now let's move on to the last stage of the Duviri Experience. The boss here is a real colossus. You start the fight at the Healing Stone, taking Orvius into the battle. Then, riding with Cave, you must grab onto the opponent's side. During the fight, he will shoot with bubbles at you, which, when hit with Orvius, turn into a cloud. You get a great speed boost when fly through it. Once you are holding your opponent, you need to move toward his head. Being practically next to the head, you will be able to control it. If you are playing on the Steel Path, you will additionally need to set the rings on the worm's segments to match the pattern indicated in the left side of the screen. The more players, the more segments to set up. Once you control the beast, you must destroy 2 towers and then fly into the portal. Now you have to destroy boss rings 3 times and eliminate enemies 2 times. This is in normal mode. On the steel path, instead of the first stage with enemies, you have to get on a horse and fly behind the pillars to survive. Here your task is to shoot down smaller worms. The best one at this stage, and generally great for destroying boss rings, is Titania, because she can fly and her pistols are very powerful. Once the fight is over, you will receive 10 Pathos Clamps, 15 and Steel Essence if you are playing on the steel path. The resource booster will not double it either. Right after, you will spawn next to the arcanes, so you can pop in for a little shopping. Before we go any further, let's go back for a moment to the characters you can choose from in the cave. If you have opportunity rank 10, then you may find someone unique. If you want to avoid spoilers, please skip to this moment. Okay, so the playable character here is Stalker. His build is created automatically based on the mods and arcanes you have. With the first skill, he teleports to the opponent and performs a finisher strike. The second skill stuns the enemy, and if it dies, part of the damage is transferred onto other enemies. Third skill is invisibility. And the fourth is a form of absorption, that after a while returns the accumulated damage in the form of cutting projectiles. Additionally, his passive skill gives him a greater critical chance to enemies who cannot see him. A great character if someone likes fighting with melee weapons. And now it is time for the circuit. This is a set of 7 missions that you play endlessly. Their order is random each time you visit the Undercroft, but once set, it remains the same until you leave the mission. For example, if you start with a defense, then in Zone 8 you will have defense again. These 7 missions are 3-wave defense, 5-minute survival, 300 cryotic excavation, void flood, alchemy with 2 crucibles, extermination and assassination. As for the defense, it does not have unique mechanics, just 3 waves. On survival, you will have 2 life support drops. To survive 5 minutes, you need around 15 personal life support units. It is quite easy to collect this amount. These are the only 2 modes in which you can actually lose. On excavation, for example, even if you are overwhelmed by the level of enemies, you will complete it sooner or later, unless you run out of revives. Void Flood is the easiest thing to do. You only need to close 5 raptures. You can do it with an operator. Alchemy. Kill enemies to get ampoules with proper element. Throw them at Crucible. No cooking stage like on Sanctum Anatomica. To complete, fill 2 crucibles. Extermination. After killing 3/4 of the enemies, Captain Vor appears. And there is also assassination, where you have to defeat the Jackal. Destroy 1 limb. Avoid lasers and bombs, most conveniently as the operator in the Void mode. And attack with Parazone. Then you look for the new opponent position, get rid of the mobs, and repeat the whole thing. After 3rd Parazone attack, the fight ends. In the Undercroft you will find a unique resource, Rune Marrow. It is in special containers and drops from Captain Vor, but also from regular enemies, yet there is a very small chance for it. Additionally, you receive 1 decree every round, but you can find 3 decree fragments on each map every round. After collecting all 3, you get an additional decree. You can hear it if you are close enough. They make a distinctive sound. By choosing a specific decree, 100% of your energy is restored. A good strategy is to leave 1 or 2 decrees for safety, so that in crisis situation you can quickly renew your energy. Additionally, during the game you will encounter objects called trauma clamps. When destroyed, they create a vortex that will suck opponents in for a while, dealing damage to them. It can also catch players and hurt them, but at much shorter distance than opponents. Good crowd control in crisis situations. Okay, but what you actually get by playing the circuit? In the regular variant, you can choose 1 of 3 Warframes in a given week. You will get blueprints for selected one needed for crafting, as well as some additional things, such as arcanes, augments for this Warframe, or other mods. It is best to choose the most difficult character to obtain by regular methods, if you don't have more than 1 Warframe from a given list. A normal circuit has an 11-week rotation. After the last one, rotation starts from the first. On the Steel path, you can choose up to 2 Incarnate Genesis. You will get them at level 5 and 10 of the circuit. However, if you don't like the Genesis in a given week, you can always choose a Riven mod or Kuva. From other rewards, you can get unique Duviri arcanes, 3-day boosters, steel essence, and other resources. You can put Incarnate Genesis into specific weapons at Cavalleros on the Zariman. If you don't want to wait for a specific rotation to get specific Incarnate Genesis, you can check Cavallero's last offer. For 120 platinum, you can buy 1 Incarnate Genesis with resources you need to insert into a weapon. Back to the Steel Path circuit. The rewards rotate every week. There are 8 rotations in total. After week 8, similarly as before, the rotation from week 1 takes place. For the first round of the circuit, you get 100 points. With each subsequent zone, this value increases, up to zone 5. This one, and each subsequent one, will give you 170 points. Additionally, you also have a bonus of plus 50 points once a day for completing the 4th zone. The Steel Path variant requires more points to complete. You can play even beyond the 10th level, but then the rewards are random, and each level requires a very large number of points, and therefore time. And that's all in this video. If you have any questions about Duviri, please type them in the comment section or visit one of my streams on Twitch. Link is in the description. See you next time. Bye.